Okay guys, hi and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about pit stops. That's right, F1 pit stops. So let's just start off with what are F1 pit stops. It is simple. A car comes in, gets new tyres, and it comes back out. But that's what some people think. But there is a lot more to it, like the strategies, how they perform, and all this sort of stuff. So I'll be going through all of this with you guys in this video. So let's get into it. Okay, you guys, so let's start off with the simple ones. The different compounds or the different tyres. Now, the different tyres and the different compound tyres are the same thing. Okay. Don't worry about my spelling. It's one. So here, let me just get a black highlighter. So here is the softs. Softs are the fastest ones, but they also are the fastest ones for like going bad. So they only last 5 laps. 5 laps before they begin to get not that good. The mediums are between, in the middle of the softs and the hards, because that's the middle. So mediums, they're quick, but not as quick as the softs. But they're hard, but not as hard as the hards, if you try to get what I mean. So they probably last about 15 laps. 15. Oh, come on, pen. So they probably last at least. There we go. They probably. Oh my god. This thing is so annoying. They probably last about 15 laps. And now the hard tyres. These hard tyres, they're pretty hard. So they're hard, they last the longest, but they're not as quick as the softs or the mediums. So they probably last around 20 to 25 laps. So that's the dry tyres. Dry tyres. Now let's move on to the wet tyres. Now, we've got inters. Inters are between the dries and the wets. So if it's only spinning a little bit, and say this is the track, and there's little puddles, just little puddles, and it's just raining, then I'll use these inters, because it's not quite slicks or normal tyres, and it's not quite for full wets yet. So they'll use the inters, which is, or the nickname is inters or intermediates. So yeah, that is what they use the intermediates for. Now the wets. The wets are the top of the table. So this is if it's really rainy. So again, here's the track. And if there's like rivers, then they will run for the full wets. So that is the full wets. And these inters probably last around probably the same as mediums, 15 laps. And then these wets probably last 25 to 30 laps. I don't know exactly, but different teams have different things. So moving on to the pit stops. Now the pit stops, this is where you can win and lose in a race. So car comes in off the track, it hits a line which is either 80 or 60 kilometers per hour. So you can only go that fast in that pit lane. And then they come into the pit stop. So down here is our explanatory, but this is how different teams do different things. So 60 or 80 depending on what track we're at. So so red is Red Bull. So Red Bull have the second pit stop in the line. So Red Bull comes in, boom boom, he hits the line. Then so he would hit that line. He'll probably hit a line there. Line there. So he'll hit that line there. He'll come through his pit stop. He'll get his tyre service, and then off he goes back out onto the track. And now Mercedes have won again. Mercedes come in, boom boom boom. They do a little bit, but then they come in, get the pit stop, then off they go again. Now this area here, this is the most important area here. So when a car comes in and when a car leaves, this is probably where most of the crashes happen, in this little crossover bit. So when a car's coming into pits and when a car's going out of pits. So that's probably the difficult part. And there's a person here and here which controls the car, which controls when he leaves. So I'll get into a little bit more detail later on in this video. So now let's head to this pit stop. So blues are people. These are old tyres, and the yellows are new tyres. Okay, so what happens pit stop? There's 17 people in a pit stop. And all those 17 people are it. Okay, so this here is it. So we've got 4 tyres on. So 4 people put the tyres on. 4 wheel guns, which are in charge of putting the wheels on and bringing the wheels back off. Wheels off are in charge of bringing the wheels off. 2 jacks, they're in charge of lifting the car up and sending the car out. 2 stabilizers, just to stable the car, and 1 firefighter with an extinguisher, so in case fire goes or something. So let's head over to this great example that I have made for you guys. So here we have our 2 jacks. The front jack has the most important job. He lets the car in and brings the car in and lets the car out. And he also has immense courage, because if the car misses his mark, well, you get the picture. So we got those other 2 jackmen. Then here, on either side of the car, we've got our stabilizers. They make sure the car doesn't move on or off. Okay? So here we got our wheel on, and here we got our wheel off, and here we got our gun. gun person. Okay, and that is all for so wheel on, wheel off, and gun. Wheel on, gun, wheel. So guys, my dog, gun, and wheel off. So what happens? So the wheel off guy comes in to get the car. So Jack, the gun goes. He brings it, pushes the gun. They release at least 3,000 torque a second. So that's a lot of torque to get the wheels off in. I think the wheel record is 1.38 seconds. So that's pretty quick. So he comes in. He takes the wheel off. He gets out of the way. The new wheel comes in. So for a split second, there's no wheels. But the new wheel comes in. Again, the guy with the tire, at least 2,000 torque, which allows it to get it back on. And so that always happens on all four sides. And these jacks are, if I can find a space, okay, so down here. So these jacks, so the rear jack is kind of like that with a little thing on it, which there's a little thing in the car which lifts it up. But the front jack's pretty cool. So we've got handles. There's like this little thing will brake, and then we got the arrows, and then we got the actual jack. And most teams have arrows like that. So the front of the car goes here. He lifts it up, and then once he is done that, he moves. So he moves this. He moves this over to here. So then he gets out of the way, so he moves that over there, and then he lets the car go out. So that is the jacks, and I think that's all I have time for today's video. Sorry I didn't get to these, but yeah, next time I'll do it. And yeah, thanks guys for watching. For these pit stop explain, and stay tuned for another F1 video. See you guys soon.